Hey guys, I was listening to a video this morning with a group of watchmen, and I heard Brother Brett from God's Land Down Under, and he was talking about, he just made a couple of mentions of, some potential instances in the future that it may involve China, and even a recent event last week where a Chinese rocket was seen off the east coast of Australia, and it's prompted me to share a dream that I had a couple of weeks ago. It was the 31st of May. I didn't share it because, to be honest, I just thought I don't really know, who I can help with this information, how I can disseminate this, and I still really don't. I just feel, I guess, seeing the puzzle pieces come together and having this, it was very, very vivid and compelling dream. Can't really not share it, so I'll just trust the Lord to do whatever he wants with it. 31st of May I had this dream. It was super intense, all the events happened very, very quickly. The whole dream I saw from the point of view of a man who was like a worker in a factory. But I'll just refer to him as I, just for ease of description through the dream. So I was in this factory, and all of a sudden, from 3 of the 4 entrances, Chinese military just barged into this factory from these entrances and started making their way through it, and with huge automatic weapons were just unaliving every person. It was absolute madness. People were running and trying to get away, but there was pretty much no possibility of that, no chance. It was just an absolute ambush. So I ran and somehow evaded a couple of these gunmen, and then I jumped up and started flying near the roof of the building. And I guess, after praying about this, it just kind of is indicative of some kind of supernatural deliverance, or intervention in these impossible situations. And that theme continues through the dream. But I still was feeling like someone's going to spot me and shoot me, but that didn't happen. And I made it to the one entrance of the building that was still, that wasn't surrounded, and exited out of the building and started heading towards the road, running towards the road. There were cars that were kind of coming towards the area down the street, but they were seeing what was happening, because in all of the buildings surrounding, the other factories and shops that were surrounding this, the same thing was taking place. It was just like an en masse takeover. But these cars, there was a group of them were kind of, seeing, trickling down, but seeing this, what was happening in this area, and coming to a stop, making U-turns and, hightailing it out of there. And I was given a knowing at this point in time that some of these people in these cars were prophetic, in that they had a gifting and a knowing from the Lord beforehand about this event happening, and that's how they were able to sort of avoid being in the crossfires. And as I was looking at these cars, I spotted one man who I just had a knowing that he was one of these prophetic people. It's just like a direct communication from the Lord that it was making a way where there is no way out of an impossible situation. So as I spotted this man, he was coming to a complete stop to do a U-turn and then, exit the area. As he was stopping, I ran to his car and just asked him if I could hitch a ride, and he said, jump in. So I jumped into his passenger seat. So he was in the front seat, there was me in the passenger, and in the back was his dog. And we drove away from the area and headed up to a mountainous region. And we came to a stop and parked out the front of a restaurant. And there was not very many cars in the parking lot. It was kind of like a vacant area. There was people in the restaurant, but not very many. It was kind of this eerie, everybody knew that there was something going down, but nobody really knew what to do about it, kind of feeling in the air, because it was all just unknown at this point in time. But there was so much noise. I was in the car and I just heard all of these sirens and planes, like military or some kind of, I don't know, that they were noisy aircraft, and explosions, and just so much noise, and also sirens. Did I say sirens? It was like these war sirens that were going off. I don't think I've ever heard them here in Australia. I've heard them, online and things like that and in movies, but it was just like a cacophony of like chaos and noise. And I knew that there was not like going to be a safe place like here. We needed to sort of get out of here. And as I was thinking this, there were these flyers that were dropping from the sky on red paper with Chinese writing on them. So I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to be occupied soon as well, wherever we are. So I was thinking, well, we need to head home. And I was thinking I wanted to go and see, if there's anyone in my house there. And if not, just, grab some, like a go bag and flee like into the wilderness. That was my plan. And as I say, like this was not a long-winded process. This was a very, very quick, bam, 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 this is what needs to be done. So as I was thinking this, I just looked into the front seat and I noticed that the guy who had been driving, he had been shot and he was no longer alive. So I was looking through his hands to find the keys in order to, drive to my house. And that was the end of the dream. So, yeah, I've never had a dream like this before, extremely realistic, but also with those very supernatural, like God, the hand of God working through this dream to even help me evade the gunman, first of all, and then to like have that discernment about what was a place of safety, how to escape, and who were the people of safety, So I feel like God is, even in the midst of the chaos that is coming during the tribulation, there is going to be, even though the chaos is going to be stepped up and the extreme adversity, there is also going to be an increase of the miraculous and supernatural ways and deliverance, and that was very evident in this dream. So that's encouraging to me, I guess, and I hope it encourages anybody who finds himself in this situation, obviously. But yeah, that's the dream, guys. If you have any dreams like this that you've had yourself, especially for me, it was new kind of to think about China invading Australia. I'd not really had that on my radar, I guess, so much, but I guess other people definitely have and know a lot more about it than I do. So if you've ever had dreams like this, I'd love to hear them. So yeah, thanks guys. Bless you.